CNBC TV 18, celebrating 16 years of business leadership.
एक तारीख से अब जो रूल लागू होने वाला है इसके लिए तो बहुत दिक्कत हो जाएगी।
अगर आपने ये सर्टिफिकेट मांगना था तो पहले से अनाउंस करते, पहले तो आपने कोई अनाउंस नहीं किया भाई सर्टिफिकेट जरूरी है।
1 तारीख से 15 तारीख तक ऑड इवन को फॉलो करवाने के लिए आप लोगों को अपने अपने मम्मी पापा को मनाना है और ना माने तो थोड़ी बहुत जबरदस्ती भी करनी है।
Well, the countdown has begun. The Delhi government is gearing up for what will be an acid test, to say the least. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has sent to students for help. He's asked them to tell their parents and relatives to comply with the odd-even scheme as the capital gears up for a dress rehearsal tomorrow. Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on India Business. Anantara, you odd or even?
Actually, I'm neither. When that NGT rule comes in, I don't own a car. I'm going to buy a scooter.
All right, you'll buy a scooter. Well, I have to figure out how I'm going to come to office on the first. Maybe since you don't have a car, maybe if you're going to buy that scooter, and pick me up on the way, Nantara. But why exempt two-wheelers and women from the odd and even scheme? Asked the Delhi High Court to the state government. Meanwhile, the US Embassy says it will support the plan, says its staff will try and comply with the scheme despite the exemption.
Government plans a gala launch of its next big-ticket program, Startup India. Sources say 35 top CEOs of Silicon Valley will join the Prime Minister for a mega event on the 16th of January.
DIPP Secretary Amitabh Kant is the front-runner for the top job at the Competition Commission when Ashok Chawla retires, but sources say the government is in a dilemma as it wants Kant to help build a Niti Aayog as well. That's a CNBC TV 18 exclusive.
We had enough of assurance given, and we don't have any reason for us to hold on to the objection that we had raised.
India and the European Union have resumed talks to ink a free trade agreement. Commerce Minister says German Chancellor Angela Merkel's India visit helped break the deadlock. That's another exclusive.
It's the CNBC TV 18 impact. The company's stocks soar in trade after Commerce Minister says the government is planning to impose anti-dumping duty to protect the Indian tile sector. That exclusive when we return.
Kaveri Seeds stock plunges further in trade. That's after SEBI initiates a forensic audit. No clarity on the scope of the audit or if the financial performance of the company is in question.
A shot in the arm for the textile industry. The cabinet approved the technology upgrade fund worth nearly 18,000 crore rupees. Hopes to attract investments worth 1 lakh crore rupees and create 30 lakh jobs.
Telecom regulator TRAI extends the deadline for public comments on differential data pricing to the 7th of January. 64 professors of IITs and other institutions moved TRAI against Facebook and Free Basics.
Under attack from the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP MP Kirti Azad, the Delhi Cricket Association hits back, plans to file a defamation suit against what it terms are wild and baseless allegations. All of that and more coming up in just a bit, but straight to the action on the Lal Street. The penultimate day of 2015 saw minimal participation. As expected, volumes continue to remain very thin ahead of the futures and options expiry tomorrow. And of course, it is the 31st of December. Now, stocks did lose ground in late trade with the Sensex down by about 100 points, tumbling now to 26,000. The Nifty also slipped below the 7,900 mark, losing about 30 points today. And if you go by the losers list, it was the IT stocks that were the main culprits. But talking about the markets, here's big opinion. Correction is a time to buy. That's the word in from market veteran Madhu Kela of Reliance Capital. He believes India is well positioned and that every dip is a buying opportunity.
If we are to make, let's say, 7,500 or even go 100, 200 points lower than that, now India is a well-discovered story. Everyone knows that we are going to go to 4 trillion and 5 trillion and $6 trillion of economy. You know, these are sectors. India is well poised, well positioned. Now, the point which I'm trying to make is correction is your only hope to enter these markets. If markets were to correct 7,500 or even below that, I will thumb the table and say buy India, buy equities.
That's Madhukela's views for 2016. On to global shows now. Let's do a quick check of how the US markets are trading. They had opened lower today, watching out for housing starts as well as crude oil inventories. Right now, the sea of red continuing at the Dow down by 0.3%, the S&P down 0.4%, while the Nasdaq is down 26 points or 0.5%. Crude prices, they've also slipped back towards the $37 a barrel mark. This as the markets remain under pressure thanks to a slowing demand as well as a glut. Remember, the forecasts have shown a cold snap in the United States and Europe is going to be a short one this year. So you have the Brent and the NYMEX trading around $36 a barrel at the moment. NYMEX is down by nearly 3.5%.
Well, that's all the global market action for you, but let's head to the big story back home. In about 36 hours from now, Delhi residents will be forced to give up their vehicles every alternate day. Preparations are in full swing for the Delhi government's odd-even scheme, which comes into effect from the 1st of January for a trial period of 15 days. Support for the scheme has come in even from those who fall under the exempt category, like the Chief Justice of India, but the Delhi High Court has questioned the exemption given to two-wheelers and women. Shweta Kothari reports on how Delhi is gearing up for the odd and even scheme.
Volunteers are being mobilized, traffic police is being briefed, an alternative mode of transport is now being contemplated for the government's much-hyped odd-even formula. After facing criticism for its inability to control pollution, the government is leaving no stone unturned to make this 15-day trial a successful affair.
Pollution एक बहुत serious प्रॉब्लम बनती जा रही है। कहा जा रहा है कि कल पूरे साल का सबसे ज्यादा पोल्यूटेड दिन था और ये एक ऐसी समस्या है जिसको हम सब लोगों को मिलके इसका समाधान ढूंढना है। अकेले सरकार कुछ नहीं कर सकती।
The government has also beefed up public transport for daily commuters. The metro frequency has been raised to over 3,100 from the existing 2,800 every day. Similarly, additional 3,000 buses have been registered for public use. Various taxi aggregators have also come up with ride-share and carpool options such as Ola Share, Uber Pool and Meru Ride Share.
Pollution are two real problems for Delhi city. And unless the government, private players like Meru and the public comes together, this solution will not happen. We have been working on this solution for quite some time. And we thought the odd-even regulation that is going to be implemented is the real time for us to test any of these products, because there is a consumer pull and there is a solution that is available, and that's why we are launching it on at this point of time.
About 10,000 volunteers have been galvanized to aid traffic police at designated spots across the capital. They cannot enforce the law, but can act as facilitators.
This is where the civil defense volunteers, the NCC and NSS volunteers gathered in huge number to be briefed by the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal himself 48 hours before the odd-even formula comes into effect in Delhi.
पब्लिक को ये समझाएंगे कि इसमें हमारा ही फायदा, हमारा ही हित है, इससे पोल्यूशन भी कम होगा और हम देश की सेवा भी कर रहे हैं, तो प्लीज यू फॉलो इट, आप फॉलो करें इसे।
ये हम वहाँ पे एक पोलाइटली रूप से वहाँ खड़े होंगे कि हर किसी को रिक्वेस्ट करनी है हमने, जो रूल तोड़ रहे हैं उन्हें फूल देकर हम बनाएंगे कि आप ऐसा मत कीजिए।
However, the list of vehicles exempted from the odd-even scheme is exhaustive and has drawn flack from all corners. But now those in the exempt list, like the Chief Justice of India, have volunteered to follow the scheme. Even the US Embassy has said its staff will try its best to comply with the order. While the impact of the odd-even formula on bringing down toxic fumes is questionable, it does mainstream the issue and will hopefully push government bodies to act. In New Delhi with Shweta Kothari, this is Shireen Bhan.
On 31st, we're going to see a trial run before the odd-even scheme comes into effect on the 1st of January. The government, meanwhile, is gearing up for its next big initiative after Skill India, Make in India, Digital India. It's time for Startup India. That's going to be launched on the 16th of January amid much fanfare. The Modi government plans to establish a high-level interministerial panel that will act as the fulcrum of the Modi government's plan to create an ecosystem to nurture innovation. Priya Shetna joining us with that story. Priya, what can we expect on the 16th of January?
Well, absolutely. India's attempt to be a serious contender to the Silicon Valley is shaping up quickly. In fact, we pick up from sources that the DIPP and the Science and Biotech departments are finalizing the Startup Action Plan. Now, this action plan is likely to be rolled out by the Prime Minister in a big show on January 16th of 2016, which is going to be attended by 35 top names from the Silicon Valley. We also understand that the government is working on creating a 3-tier startup ecosystem. Now, this will allow entrepreneurs to develop products as well as create startups. Now, much of this will begin at the university level itself, where incubation and mentoring will take place. But we learned that several issues like the ease of doing business will be highlighted in the policy. A single window clearance mechanism as well as registration, compliance and exit for startups is likely to be a part of this policy. Special IP cells are also likely to be set up in each state to monitor patent filings. But in order to ensure funding access, schemes like the Atal Innovation Mission and the self-employment and talent utilization will also be integrated into the policy. Now, the government is also planning to offer several tax incentives for startups and is working with KPMG to finalize these. Issues like reimbursement of service tax, marketing incentives as well as patent filing costs are likely to be considered. In fact, contours of this are likely to be finalized only by next week, so we'll keep you updated.
That's a heads up of what we can expect on the 16th of January. Thanks a lot, Priya, for joining us. With that, while we're talking about startups, let's talk about the man behind the ambitious plan of Startup India, Amitabh Kant. Shireen, he's going to do Startup India. He's done Make in India, Incredible India, God's own country, and now you understand he could be the next head of the CCI.
Well, that's right. So what we are giving to understand from our top sources at this point in time is that Amitabh Kant has emerged as the front runner to take over from Ashok Chawla as the chairman of the Competition Commission of India. But here's the interesting twist, Nantara, because what we are also given to understand is that the government is not sure whether they should move Amitabh Kant to the CCI or they should keep him on at the Niti Aayog. Remember, very recently Amitabh Kant was appointed as the CEO of the Niti Aayog. He's taken over from Sindhushri Khullar, whose term is set to expire or end at the Niti Aayog. So whether Amitabh Kant is finally given the CCI or kept on at the Niti Aayog, the government believes that the Niti Aayog requires some institutional muscle building, and perhaps Kant may be the man for the job. The other top contenders for the position of the CCI include Harshvardhan Singh, the former WTO Deputy Director General. He was at the WTO Secretariat for about 12 years. He's worked at the ILO, he's worked at the UNCTAD in Geneva. He was the former TRAI Secretary. Government sources say that the man has suitable credentials and could be appropriate for the chairman of the CCI. We also know that Mr. D.K. Sikri, a 1975 Gujarat cadre officer, is also part of the contenders list that has been shortlisted by the government. He was the former Secretary of the Department of Justice. So it really is between the three of them. Will it be Amitabh Kant that gets the CCI, or will he be kept on at the Niti Aayog? And will it then fall down to Harshvardhan Singh as well as D.K. Sikri? That's the big question at this point in time. But watch this space for more details.
Right, so that's the race as far as for the next head of the CCI goes, Shireen. Time now for another CNBC TV 18 exclusive. India's free trade agreement with the European Union has been in the works for quite some time, and Commerce Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says both sides are hoping to ink the deal as soon as possible. Sitharaman, while speaking to Shireen, refrained from giving a precise timeline. The minister said that from saying that the renegotiations will begin from January. That much she confirmed.
After German Chancellor's visit to Bengaluru, where the Prime Minister was also with her, we've had enough of assurance given, and we don't have any reason for us to hold on to the objection that we had raised. And already the chief negotiators have agreed to meet in January. They will start the process, and we will be moving forward on India-EU FTA.
So from January the negotiations will restart?
Yes, absolutely.
And we have given up on the concerns that we had as far as the farmer-related issues are concerned, and they have given us that assurance.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So that story is finished, and the negotiations are starting on the India-EU.
What is the kind of broad timeline that you believe that we could expect the momentum to really pick up and then an eventual agreement?
With a sense of urgency, we are moving forward. Even the EU is keen in tying it up faster. So it should, let's say, I don't want to give a timeline because it's two parties talking together. So we'd like to finish it at the earliest.
But some of the other concerns related to the auto sector, related to the wine sector, those concerns you believe have also been addressed, and there is forward momentum
they'll be talked in detail as we are going along with the negotiations. But both the parties, as I understand, are fairly open-minded and therefore wanting to tie it up faster.
Well, that's the Commerce Minister saying that negotiations between India and the EU for the FTA will restart in January.